Inspector. Closely, I trust. Tell me what you found. That doesn't surprise me. Cedric practically stole his way to Eridanos. He'll do everything in his power to keep you off his trail. With that in mind, do you think Cedric was responsible for Helen's death? No motive. That's disappointing, because it's exactly the conclusion he'd want us to make. Unfortunately, even I don't have the authority to detain Cedric. His line of work is dangerous, though. There's always a chance for an accident. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I've already lost Dr. Blossom and Constable Keene, but at least Cedric's alive. The universe is a just place.
Hope you've been enjoying your stay.
Anyone else want to camp out in that hunting reserve instead of staying in the penthouse? No? Just me? All right.
Don't mess with us.
Oh, you are in for it now. Nice work, Captain.
We heading inside, Captain? Don't worry. I got your back.
There's a killer on the loose, Inspector. Step lively.
Gunther, I need to ask you something.
Who in the hell is Gunter?
Oh, hey there, stranger. Don't mean to interrupt your business, but have you seen a stray mechanical wandering about? Three legs, conical body, wearing a worker's hat, woefully unsuited for combat. Well, normally I'd be inclined to disagree with you. Betty's a big girl and can steer clear of danger, but it's been a little too long. Seems I'm running my mouth too much. My mechanical Betty up and wandered away a couple days back. I've been trying to track her, but the beasts make it hard. Personally, I prefer my organs inside my body. The shopkeep says I should buy one of his rifles and go looking myself, but like my machine, I'm not combat inclined.
We can help her out, right? Won't take too long if we're on the job.
I know it's a pain, but I think I need some outside help. Job or no job, I'm not leaving Betty out in the wastes. Betty's just your standard tripod mechanical, though she probably is still wearing my hat. Without it, she seems kind of naked. Her main purpose is cacao milking, but the only cacaos in the reserve are close. Without a directive, she shouldn't have had reason to wander away from the milking area.
Like those boat buckets need a reason to do anything. It's probably searching the world for more things to milk.
Wouldn't make any sense. Ain't no cacaos out there. Betty's smarter than that. I'm contractually obligated to inform you that slug mechanicals are not notoriously inclined to malfunction, and any rumors to the contrary are slander. But yeah, usually even slug machines don't get lost on their own, so I guess I'm to blame. Setting Betty's search parameters is my job. Must have added a 0 where I shouldn't have.
That don't usually happen by accident. I think she's trying to pull one over on us.
Hey, I ain't in the habit of intentionally losing company property. That'd be one hell of a violation. Besides, I'm rather fond of Betty. This is all just an unfortunate cycle of events. If you can help rectify it and get me my Betty back, I'll give you everything I got. Hey, thanks so much. It would have been mighty lonely without her. Being unemployed, I mean. Be lonely being unemployed. If you find Betty, try sneaking up and hacking her. If you can't do that, finding a way to stop her current routines should send her back home.
Welcome to Hunter Legal's Legal Hunter Supplies. I am Hunter Legal. How might I help you today? Unusual. This whole land complex is a failed wildlife exhibition turned hunting reserve. You can't go 10 feet without stepping in unusual. But I reckon you're asking about people unusual. I'd go have a chat with the prophet of profitability. Maybe she can intuit you in the right direction or something. But she is mighty far in the depths of the reserve. Perhaps you should purchase one of my fine armaments for the journey. I'm sure I don't know what you mean. It is a perfectly normal name for a shop dispensing hunter supplies. Don't get smart with me. I'm just a shopkeep. Where better to sell hunter supplies than in the depths of the wilds, surrounded by creatures that are just waiting to devour you? I've got an excuse, but the prophet and her retreat don't. And they're even farther out. Prophet said I should gift her some rifles to improve my aura or something. I told her what she could do with her aura. Haven't spoken to her since. But you look like you're smart enough to not make the decision that she'll invariably regret. Hunter supplies. Get your hunter supplies.
Hey, I almost can't believe it. Betty found her way back. Here I was thinking I'd never see her again. Oh, Betty, you big goof. What were you thinking in that little metal noggin of yours? You nearly worried me to death. And you, ain't you just the most reliable freelancer in the colony? Let me just take a look at Betty here and we'll talk about payment. Yep, that's right. Her parameters for movement and target acquisition are a mess. I'll bring her back to the garage and get her sorted out. Since Betty's back safe and sound, I'll be sure to let my coworkers know that you're a good one. Here's some money for your effort. Least I can do to show my thanks. Oh, I won't be turning my back on Betty again, believe me. Thanks again for all your help. You really saved us both from the edge.
Sorry, but we're a little busy right now. I'm sure one of the other guys would be happy to give you a tour.
Lawrence, do you know who you're talking to? We always have time for the inspector.
The inspector? That's you? I am so sorry. We didn't know what we were doing. We're so sorry. It'll never happen again. Oh, Law, it's all over. I told you someone would catch on sooner or later, Belle.
Lawrence, let me do the talking here. Inspector, pay him no mind. I'm sure you've bigger saltuna to can than us. Don't pay him any mind, Inspector. His upper story's a little gap-toothed, if you know what I mean. But seeing as you insist on sticking your... That is, since you're so curious, I'll fill you in on what we're doing. We, misplaced some people on our last tour. Misplaced them in the maws of some local predators. Now we're stuck here wondering how to get their room keys. Might have been Raptidons. I find it hard to tell them apart, especially when my glasses get fogged up. Hey, we all got our priorities. Not worrying about those keys ain't gonna bring their owners back from the dead. Anyway, the sooner we get those keys back, the sooner we can make it look like the ex-guests checked out early.
Wouldn't you? I mean, the dangers were all listed in fine print on the waivers they signed. Least they can do is not destroy our reputation when they get themselves killed. We knew sooner or later this was gonna happen. We've got some hush money tucked away. If you can get those keys for us, it's all yours.
You kidding? You're welcome to.
Our bosses would want this situation resolved, just like us. We're the real victims here. The dead can't suffer anymore, but we can, and we will if we have to pay for all these lost keys. Damn it, what are we gonna do now? I'm too pretty to go to prison.
For law's sake, nobody's going to prison. Worst case, we get fired.
I'd rather go to prison. Inspector, if you change your mind, please do come talk to us.
Don't mess with us.
Candy Canyon? Is that because we taste like lollipops to raptidons?
Here we go!
I love a good fight.
Captain, what is this place and why is everybody acting so strange? Oh, Law. They ain't cannibals, right?
Hello! Welcome to the Prophet of Profitability's Private Prosperity Retreat. Stay positive, and soon all your humors will be balanced. Least, that's what I keep telling myself. Anyway, I'm Aaliyah Mason. I work as the Prophet's right-hand woman. What can I do for you? If you felt imbalanced and unproductive, linger in your malaise no longer. We have all the amenities and practices for calming the ill humors strangling your potential. Sit for hours in our sweat house and sweat them out, or stand amidst burning coals and feel your productive inhibitions burn away. And remember, think positive. Positivity equals productivity equals profitability. Of course, I've been studying under her for years. I know each of her techniques more or less by heart, and even have some variations of my own, such as the quintuple daily stomach purges. She's promised me that I'd be allowed to open my own branch of the retreat someday soon. Of course, I've been waiting on someday soon for coming up on 4 years now. I'm sure it's gonna happen anytime now. Oh, terribly sorry if I gave you that impression. I had a cramp. It's better now. I mean, it might be nice if I had a little inclination of whether the Prophet appreciated all the cooking and cleaning and hours of meditation I do on a daily basis. But whatever she thinks isn't for me to question. I'll do my best to be more chipper. Oh my. Yes, this is important enough for me to delay my bi-hourly self-flagellation. Ask away. Yes, the circumstances there are quite unfortunate. For a time, the Prophet was completely despondent. Even the hot coal walks weren't buoying her spirits as they usually do. However, we recently had a high-profile visitor whose presence seemed to alleviate whatever the Prophet's fears were. Oh, you must have misheard me. I said high-profile, not had profile. Mr. Woolrich comes by much too often to be worth mentioning. Yes, the circumstance... I'm actually not entirely certain. It was a surreptitious visit that stood out because it was surreptitious. Whoever it was must have paid the Prophet quite a lot to keep things quiet. At least that's the only reason I can think of for intentionally keeping things so hush-hush. Well, by and large, no. But something rather odd did happen regarding the Prophet recently. A few hours after our high-profile visitor arrived a couple of days ago, the Prophet asked me to take over sessions for the remainder of the day. At first, I was excited. Thought it was my chance to show her what I could do in charge. But then I saw that she was deeply worried about something. No one saw her until the next day. I was here at the retreat in the company of the other disciples and clients. I rarely have more than a few minutes of alone time. Which is fine, of course. I do what I do in the service of the Prophet, who will, I'm sure, reward me for my sacrifice. Eventually. Certainly. Actually, before you go, I want to report something suspicious. I noticed the Prophet dragging something, a bundle, away from the retreat after that high-profile guest arrived. Normally, I'm the one who does her laundry, so it was strange. Especially because whatever she was dragging seemed oddly human-shaped. I think so. Had the right size and shape. I could have, but I generally don't have the time or energy to leave the reserve to contact anyone. Plus, there's always the possibility that I'm mistaken. The Prophet hasn't been herself lately, but if I misinterpreted the situation and reported her improperly, I'd ruin my chances for opening my own wing of the retreat.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Identifying human footprints leading out into the wilderness. It is unusual for productivity disciples to wander more than a few feet from the camp. Scanning. No. Helen's distinctive shoe size not found. Judging by footprint depressions and shoe size, these prints were either made by the Prophet of Profitability or Adjutant Sophia Akande. Error. Recalibrating. These footprints were made by the Prophet of Profitability.